Hello friends, welcome to another Halloween history video. Today we look at the popular Halloween tradition of trick-or-treating, the part of Halloween kids look forward to the most and some adults miss doing. But why do we trick-or-treat? Why is this the one night of the year where kids go to strangers' houses in costumes and ask for candy? Let's look at the origins of trick-or-treating. Where to even begin with this? The idea of kids putting on costumes, going door to door, and singing in exchange for treats has been an old custom for different cultures, including as far back as ancient Greece. In the Middle Ages in Great Britain, kids would do this, but instead of singing, they'd perform scenes from plays in exchange for food. It was called mumming. Basically the same principle in different areas with different names depending on the area, along with some slight variations, such as souling in 15th century Britain, where kids would go to different parishes and beg for soul cakes in exchange for singing or praying for the souls of those who gave out the cakes. In 16th century Scotland, a tradition named guising came up. It was virtually the same as mumming, but with more emphasis on showing up in costume. Connecting it to Halloween, we of course have the tradition of putting on scary costumes to hide from evil spirits roaming the earth on October 31st. There is also the part of offering food to appease the souls of the dead that would cross over into our world. It was also to appease evil creatures who would appear on this night, including fairies. Not the Disney kind. The kind from Irish folklore that would abduct your kids and leave duplicates known as changelings behind. Later on, as Halloween gained popularity in Europe, these traditions evolved into people collecting food offerings on behalf of the dead and the creatures while dressing up as a creature. This would also give them a pass from the beings they were dressing up as. Now, in the 19th century, guising took more from Halloween origins, where kids would go house to house and threaten to cause mischief to those who didn't give them treats, basically taking a little too much inspiration from the idea of appeasing evil spirits. Those who did give treats, however, would be blessed with good fortune for the coming year. This version of the tradition spread throughout Europe until it reached Canada and the US in the early 20th century. The first reported case of guising in North America occurred in Canada on Halloween in the year 1911, and then started reaching American kids only a few years later. But even with this long history of guising, souling, and mumming finally making its way to America, the term trick-or-treat was never used until just under 100 years ago, once again starting in Canada. In 1927, a local paper in Blackie, Alberta, Canada, described that Halloween night with this quote: "Halloween provided an opportunity for real strenuous fun. No real damage was done except to the temper of some who had to hunt for wagon wheels, gates, wagons, barrels, etc., much of which decorated the front street. The youthful tormentors were at back door and front demanding edible plunder by the word trick-or-treat, to which the inmates gladly responded and sent the robbers away rejoicing. So rather than 'give us treats or we'll give you great misfortune,' it was shortened to the phrase trick-or-treat. A decade later, American kids used the same phrase to the point where American publications spread it far and wide. Although it was slowed down during the World War II sugar rationing, trick-or-treat's popularity grew year after year in the United States and Canada. The term was used in a lot of children's books and other media, including an early Charlie Brown comic strip and a Disney short in the 1950s. In 1953, the United Nations Children's Fund, or UNICEF, started a campaign for trick-or-treaters to also collect donations with their candy. But just like some of our other traditions, there always has to be some Halloween heathens to try to ruin a good thing. A bunch of adults in the 1950s saw trick-or-treating as a form of extortion and refused to participate. Some even going as far as to send their kids to a parade with signs that said, "American boys don't beg." But they're just boring, sad people. The majority of the country loves trick-or-treating. Why do you think so many 30-year-olds go to Disneyland's Halloween party? Even though the origins of trick-or-treat took place in Europe, the term didn't catch on there until the 1980s. And they had some people who also didn't like the concept, but a lot of people still see the fun in it. Particularly because the phrase trick-or-treat is more of a fun thing to say before you get candy. Kids, most kids, don't show up to a house with the intention of causing mischief if they don't get their candy, even though there are people who think that cities adopted this practice to keep kids away from crime. But that's not the case. In fact, some kids who do commit mischief around Halloween in this day and age will do it regardless of whether you give them candy or not.
Hand over the candy, old dude, or we egg your house back to the Stone Age.
Here you go, kid.
We'll come back to Halloween mischief in another video. But that's the origin of trick-or-treat, a Halloween tradition for entertainment and tasty treats. If you like this video, check out some of our other Halloween history videos. And if there's a particular aspect of Halloween that we haven't explored yet but you want us to, let us know in the comments section. Goodbye, friends!